Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Join us Friday, April 24th through Sunday, April 26th for our first homestand of the season and our 5th anniversary celebration. Score big with $5 tickets. Grab $5 domestic draft beers. Enjoy $5 popcorn. And yes, 2 Nathan's hot dogs for just $5. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the soul of excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
Yes.
Give me an idea. Are we letting ships through? Because we're seeing different reports. First, nobody's getting through. Then we boarded a ship that tried to get through. Do you have any reporting that talks about what's really happening in the Strait?
Yeah, the United States is allowing any vessels who are passing through this area to make their way to their final destination as long as they're not coming from Iranian ports. There were some reports overnight indicating that 26 vessels from Iran's shadow fleet were able to make it past the U.S. blockade. There is no evidence of that, and despite what one Democratic senator talked about, there is a concerted effort by the United States to ensure that any vessels that are coming from Iranian ports are turned around or seized, as we saw with that one cargo ship over the weekend.
So, Trey, that was just Iranian propaganda, right?
Yes, absolutely. And the shadow fleet that the senator is talking about is used to directly fund Iranian proxies across the Middle East, including Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah, who are directly responsible for killing U.S. citizens. And so the shadow fleet is a very serious problem. It is not getting past the U.S. blockade, according to all reports and information that we have from the region. But it is a very serious issue that the U.S. Navy says they will crack down on, not just in the Persian Gulf, but also around the world, including in the Indo-Pacific.
Welcome, my friends, to the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Yes, what a day it is. Now, that senator was referred to in the news report that you heard above the opening theme from this program is Senator Murphy from Connecticut. A disgrace, a total disgrace to the office of United States Senate if, as many believe, his Twitter, as he calls it, his X post, was not accidental, was not sarcastic. Setting the stage just briefly, as you just heard, Iranian propaganda. Oh, we got 24 shadow ships through. When that was posted on social media, Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut simply wrote one word above a post, the post, announcing this propaganda, fake news, that Iran had gotten a shadow fleet past American. He wrote the words, awesome. Awesome. And of course, that produced outrage. How dare a sitting United States senator say that Iran slipping past the U.S. military with a shadow fleet, the profits of which they use to basically fund terrorism. And you have a United States senator from the state of Connecticut seeming to praise that. Oh, that's awesome. They're getting past the American military. It is beyond belief, almost. Well, he was confronted, Chris Murphy, in the halls of Congress and asked about it, cut 4, and this is what that exchange sounded like with Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut.
Twitter's become kind of a cesspool. I probably should give up on sarcasm on Twitter. Obviously, anybody that's seen anything that I have said about Trump's war knows that I think it's bungled, mismanaged, and he should end it as quickly as possible. But sarcasm is not something, I guess, that's allowed on Twitter any longer.
Do you regret the post? Are you planning on taking it down, or are you going to keep it up?
I mean, I guess I just have to be more careful about sarcasm on Twitter.
So he blames Twitter. He blames the site. I guess sarcasm is not welcome on. Sarcasm is plenty welcome on Twitter. If you're writing something sarcastic, all you have to do, parentheses, sarcasm, or put up an emoji that looks like something that's skeptical, anything. But to simply write awesome, people understand the word awesome. Don't blame people for your if it was a mistake, but many people don't think it was a mistake. Just one of those moments where he let his true feelings be known. That it was awesome that the Iranians got past the United States, and it turned out to be fraudulent anyway. Not buying it. Not in the least, especially given his past remarks. This is a Hanoi Jane moment. And his voters should remember this. I don't care how he tries to excuse it, how he tries to blame Twitter. This is a total Hanoi Jane moment where you have a United States Senator appearing to root for the enemy of the United States. And simply saying, oh, I was being sarcastic. There's no indication that he was. And I don't understand why he would think that people would take him at his post word on this now. His post backlash word after people reacted to what he said. Now, there are other things. The Democrats have stepped up their war against Kash Patel. And we could spend a lot of time on that, but I may not do that today. In fact, I may want to see, but Chuck Schumer, let's just a little time. Cut 8. Chuck Schumer on the Senate floor. Now, keep in mind, Atlantic Monthly did a hit piece on Kash Patel. He didn't waste any time. He's suing them. But Democrats went into gear, and it tells me that this is just so coordinated, like everything else is. They publish the piece. Chuck Schumer goes on the floor. Amy Klobuchar, Senator Lieu, and others, all with the same lines about how he's got to step down. There's some watchdog group now, some leftist group that is demanding to see his, here it is. Let me find this right here. The watchdog organization has filed a new request for records pertaining to FBI Director Kash Patel, citing new reports of excessive alcohol use from the intelligence chief. Right. Some guy named Sky Perryman, president and CEO of DFF, Democracy Forward Foundation, cites the Atlantic's report the FBI director is MIA. And so the Atlantic article includes reports that he drank heavily, was fearful about losing his job, blah, 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 blah. But it's a hit piece. And this is Chuck U. Schumer on the Senate floor earlier today.
On Kash Patel, the American people expect competence from the president's cabinet, not the unmitigated and continuing chaos we see every day. Over the weekend, more damning reports about FBI Director Kash Patel's disorderly, drunken, and deranged behavior came to light. The Atlantic's reporting only confirmed what Senate Democrats have said from the start. Kash Patel is not simply unqualified. He's a grave risk to the rule of law and to American national security. I have called on acting attorney
Crossfade cut 9 with old Chuck. You can leave him up there. I don't care whether we're talking over him. He doesn't make any sense. Just crossfade Amy.
The FBI Director Kash Patel, he's filed a lawsuit today against The Atlantic over their story that I know you saw, Senator, which alleges that he drinks to excess, that he has unexplained absences, doesn't show up. It was damning. CNN hasn't corroborated some of the anecdotes and episodes told in the article, but Patel just responded to it on Fox News. Here he is.
I'm happy to announce on your show that we are not going to take this laying down. You want to attack my character? Come at me. Bring it on. I'll see you in court.
Senator, you're on the Senate Judiciary Committee, so in that role, you oversee the FBI. So if this reporting holds and Patel does not step down, it would seem this is a national security crisis. Can anything be done about it?
National security crisis.
Well, we must have
an
immediate hearing with Kash Patel. If he says see you in court, I think he should also say see you in the judiciary.
Be quiet, Amy. That's what Chuck is, a national security crisis. So here she comes. Wow, if this is a national security crisis. So that's the drumbeat. There's a national security crisis. Folks, I have been around long enough to know when there is a pre-organized campaign that is underway. This is a Get Kash Patel campaign. We're going to try to take down the Justice Department because they're getting too close to a lot of things that are happening inside the Democrat infrastructure. And we got to get the FBI out of the way. We got to make some bad headlines for the DOJ. We got Bondi. Now let's get Patel. So out they sick Atlantic magazine, come up with some piece, and then just like 1, 2, that was 1, and here's 2, you get a bunch of these senators. Wow, look at the Atlantic. Wow, this is true. This is a national security issue. Oh, this is, Chuck Schumer. Well, this is a national security issue. Amy Klobuchar, this is a national security issue. Yes, Carlos.
Phil gave me a great link on as an answer to that. One of my favorite guys in the Senate.
Let's hear it then.
Chucky Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, they are, quote, minority leaders in name only. They'll never stand up to that wing, will they?
No, they could. And I don't mean any disrespect. I don't know Mr. Jeffries that well. I know Senator Schumer very well, so I say this with respect. Chuck and Hakeem need to go to Amazon, buy some testicles, and stand up to the loon wing of their party.
Thank you. That was John Kennedy. Folks, this is a Democrat coordinated hit piece, and this is how they do it. They team up with one of their allies in the mainstream media. The mainstream media ally comes up with the hit piece. And then just as soon as they're done with the hit piece, out march these Democrats. Wow, would you look at what such and such published? Oh my gosh, we've got to do something. We have seen this over and over and over and over throughout the years I have been following politics. This is part of the Democrat Party playbook. The mainstream media, some outlets in them, I could name outlets. There's an outlet that, for instance, Politico pops up with a Supreme Court leak. There's another Supreme Court leak, by the way, New York Times. The New York Times, Atlantic. And then you can find a host of others that will be the front. They're the leading edge, the tip of the spear, so to speak, in a campaign. They pounce first, followed by a bunch of their Democrat Party lackeys to try to target, isolate the enemy, and take the enemy out. And that is what I believe, I firmly believe this Kash Patel hit piece is all about. Now, I leave the possibility. I don't know people like that. I can't tell you what they do with their off time. I can't tell you whether we might learn some things that make me say, oh, geez, I didn't know that. But I'm telling you, this has the appearance of a Democrat Party operation to me. And I will leave myself room to say, there may be some things here that are a concern that we didn't know. I'm going to leave myself a little bitty out. But I'm telling you, my first instinct on this is a Democrat Party hit piece. And it's a coordinated campaign to get Patel. That's my first instinct. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. James Golden, Snerdley, keep it right here.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Oh, Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Breaking news.
And James Flippin, the Red Apple Audio Network news director, is here with us. We have breaking news. James?
Hey, Bo, absolutely. So the ceasefire has been extended between the U.S. and Iran. It was set to expire tomorrow at 8 o'clock our time, but it has been extended. President Trump says that basically because the Iranian government is so fractured right now, not unexpectedly so, he notes, and this is in a Truth Social post, the government of Pakistan and its representatives have asked for more time to potentially come up with a unified proposal. Earlier in the day, we had heard that these planned talks in Pakistan were in fact on hold because Tehran had failed to respond to negotiation points put forth by the U.S. government. But with the broader bombing campaign that we had for the 2 weeks prior to this ceasefire deal, we know that even people who had been anointed as the next Ayatollah were taken out in attacks. So right now, the question is, who are the representatives on the ground in Iran that are really making these decisions? Is this something that President Trump is extending as a part of good faith to try to get these talks going again? Or is it just something where they really need to figure out who is making the decisions in Iran, and that's why they need to postpone everything?
Wow. Okay, well, thank you so much, James Flippin. Breaking news, my friends, the ceasefire stays in effect. We will not be taking out Iran's bridges or its infrastructure, at least for the foreseeable future. James Golden, Snerdley. Keep it right here. We'll be back, have so much more to discuss with you. So whatever you do, don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
James Golden, Bo Snerdley. Let's get to some of the news. So, a story posted at 7 a.m. this morning from Fox. The headline says, indicted Democrat Sheila Sir Phyllis McCormick refuses to resign as expulsion vote looms. And in the article, they say, they quote her. They say, for those asking whether I plan to resign, the answer is no. Niet. Sir Phyllis McCormick recently told Fox News Digital, she said, this is not the time to abandon the district, not when they too are fighting for their future. Headline from the Hill this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Democrat Sheila Sir Phyllis McCormick resigns from Congress in face of expulsion vote. Sir Phyllis McCormick has maintained her innocence, but in a statement today, she said the ethics investigation was not a fair process. She says that their investigation threatened to disadvantage her defense in the criminal case. By going forward with this process while a criminal indictment is pending, the committee prevented me from defending myself. I will not stand by and pretend that this has been anything other than a witch hunt. I simply cannot stand by and allow my due process rights to be trampled on and my good name to be tarnished. Rather than play these political games, I choose to step away so that I can devote my time to fighting for my neighbors. In Florida's 20th District, I hereby resign from the 119th Congress effective immediately. All right, so bye. Happy court days. But don't worry, you people in the 20th, she's still going to be fighting for you. Another story. Where is the New York Times version? I have one version in front of me. I got to get that. No, that won't do. Here it is. All right, I have the original story here. I printed out the New York Times version. Here's the AP version. Southern Poverty Law Center says it faces a Justice Department criminal probe over paid informants. The Southern Poverty Law Center says it's the subject of a criminal investigation by the Justice Department and faces possible charges over its past use of paid informants to infiltrate extremist groups. Although we don't know all of the details, the focus appears to be on SPLC's prior use of paid confidential informants to gather credible intelligence on extremely violent groups, CEO Brian Fair said. The Justice Department, you want to know why they're going after Kash Patel? You want to know why they're going after Kash Patel? Okay. So apparently they used informants. Now, the center came under fresh scrutiny after the assassination last year of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, brought renewed attention to his characterization of the group that Kirk founded and led. They listed Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA in a report titled The Year of Hate and Extremism, a case study of the hard right. Who have they gone after? Here's the New York Times. Prominent civil rights group says it's under federal the Southern Poverty Law Center used to be a prominent law group. Back in the old days, the 70s, they used to investigate groups like the Ku Klux Klan and other supremacy. But now, in all these years, they have gone after, you call yourself a conservative, you call yourself a Christian, and you have a target on your back from this bunch. They smeared, in my opinion, heavily smeared Turning Point USA. When you had Moms for Liberty pop up, they were smeared too, to try to fight some of this indoctrination that was going on, this leftist indoctrination in the schools. So it is no wonder, finally. This is why they're going after Patel. Here's a headline from the New York Times story. In October, the FBI director, Kash Patel, announced that the Bureau was severing its ties with the group. He said the organization long ago abandoned civil rights work and turned into a partisan smear machine. He singled out their use of a hate map, displaying what it describes as anti-government hate groups, and said the map unfairly targeted mainstream Americans. Around the same time, Patel also cut FBI ties with the Anti-Defamation League, a group that fights anti-Semitism, and that's all they'll say about it. They won't tell you what these groups have done. So, you want to know why the operation to get rid of Kash Patel? Ew, I'm just looking at a post on Ilhan Omar. Speaking of Ilhan Omar, Princess Diana just sent me a post that I will have to examine during the next commercial break on Ilhan. I thought do we have Comer? Emmer. Let's go to cut 7. Tom Emmer, the Representative Tom Emmer, who is the whip, the majority whip for Carlos, do you know what a whip is? Do you know what the whip in a you should see the smile on his face. I think he does know what a whip is.
Okay. I think it's not.
I think you do know what a whip is, Carlos.
Indiana Jones uses, right?
That wasn't what I was thinking about, but yeah, that's one. In politics, do you know what the whip does?
Oh, no.
Philip might know.
He's out. He
left really quick. But you were smiling when you saw a whip whips the vote. He's the guy that urges people he lobbies for the party to stay unified, vote in the right direction.
Like go
he whips
vote,
the vote
we're
up.
going to vote this way.
Yeah. You guys got to vote this way. We do this way. He's the guy in charge of getting the votes. He's the whip. And make sure they have accurate counts before they know. So he's the whip. All right, anyway, the whip had a few things to say about Ilhan Omar. Cut 7. This is the whip, Tom Emmer.
Headline about a certain congresswoman's not-so-stellar record of honesty and competence. Last year, Ilhan Omar's financial disclosure revealed skyrocketing wealth. It showed a whopping net worth of up to $30 million, a 3,500% increase in wealth compared to just 2 years prior. Now she's trying to convince the world that she's actually only worth $95,000. Still quite a jump from 2 years ago, but in an eye-popping revision of her disclosure, Ms. Omar is saying the multi-million-dollar discrepancy was nothing more than an accounting error. In what world is a multi-billion-dollar correction to a person's financial disclosure considered normal? Perhaps this member's accountant, perhaps Ilhan's accountant, is a graduate from the Quality Leering Center. Either way, this about-face shows incompetence at best and a cover-up at worst. But this is just the latest in a long list of head-turning stories relating to this member from Minnesota. Ilhan cannot escape accountability much longer. Investigations are ongoing in House committees. The Trump administration has waged war on fraud. Her ties to convicted Feeding Our Future fraudsters are well documented. And her defense of these criminals who stole billions from hardworking taxpayers makes it very clear where her allegiance stands. Make no mistake, if Ilhan Omar is discovered to have been involved in any or to have benefited in any way from any fraud, she must be held accountable to the fullest extent. And by the way, that includes marriage fraud. I yield to our leader.
Ew. Okay, so we got the Ilhan Omar stuff. We have a bunch of stuff with illegal immigration. I'm looking at the clock. Wouldn't be fair to start because I can't finish. And there's multiple stories that all connect. What's going on in Fairfax, Virginia? What happened? Sentencing for an illegal immigrant who has been assaulting multiple girls. We got all that. We're going to hold maybe some of that. You'll figure it out. But also, more murder from an illegal immigrant. And then we have that guy, we talked about him yesterday, that's running for the Senate in Detroit, in Michigan. Detroit is just a city. Yeah, Detroit. Abdul El-Sayed. We talked about how horrible and despicable this guy is yesterday. His remarks were, not how he is, I don't know him, but his remarks. Cut 17. Let's play that right now. Going after J.D. Vance and J.D. Vance's wife. This is an excerpt from a podcast. He's running, Democrat, running for the Senate, U.S. Senate from Michigan. This is Abdul El-Sayed.
The thing about J.D. Vance, he has the charisma of a doorknob. Here's the thing, Lenny. What do you think is going through Usha's head when he talks? She's like, damn, I have to sleep with him.
That's him.
I mean, like, I guess she's pregnant, so I guess something's happening. But like, yeah, like you got to imagine, like, truly zero charisma.
Something tells me they both have bad breath. But it's just a feature of watching people who say nasty things. Well, it didn't stop there.
He's got to look at his kids and be like, yeah, those are brown kids. They're mine. You know what I mean? And I had brown kids. I had brown kids. I love my brown kids. And I think my brown kids are just as American as everyone else. J.D. Vance has brown kids who thinks he thinks are less American than everyone else. Like, that's wild to look at your own kids and be like, you don't actually belong as much in this country that I brought you into.
Yeah, that's like, that's so sad.
How do you like? Part of me is like, bro, like, it must break you every time you like hug your own kids. Like, I'm so sorry.
What about
just stop it right there? Just stop it right there. Just stop it right there. He says J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, looks at his own kids and realizes you guys don't belong. You don't belong as much as someone else. He feels something other than love for his brown kids when he holds his brown kids. Because he's a racist, I guess, according to this guy, and he's sorry he produced brown kids. This is vile. This is disgusting. This is today's Democrats. There was no low, too low. Whether it's this guy out of Connecticut, Senator Murphy, actively rooting for what turned out to be Iran propaganda, because Iran propaganda said that they were figuring out how to get around the U.S., and he writes, awesome, oh, that's awesome, awesome, awesome. Iranian figured out how to get around Trump's military, awesome. No low is too low for these people. And this guy wants to join Chris Murphy in the Senate. Attacking J.D. Vance's wife, his brown children, beyond disgust. There's nothing too low for these people. The Pope is in the news again. I happen to agree with the Pope with something that he said this time. Pope Leo, XIV, 14. XIV, Pope Leo, XIV, urged Africa's youth population on Friday to solve the continent's economic and corruption problems rather than migrate elsewhere, especially the Vatican. No, I didn't say that. I didn't even say that. I did. Sorry. Pope, please forgive me. I didn't mean that. The Pope, I did, but I didn't. I was trying to make a political point that I probably shouldn't. Anyway, Pope XIV urged Africa's youth population on Friday to solve the continent's economic and corruption problems rather than migrate elsewhere. The Pope, speaking to a crowd of university students and teachers from the Catholic University of Central Africa in Cameroon's capital city, said that the continent must be freed from the scourge of corruption. In the face of the understandable tendency to migrate, which may lead one to believe that elsewhere is a better future, may be more easily found, I invite you first and foremost to respond with an ardent desire to serve your country and to apply the knowledge you are acquiring here to the benefit of your fellow citizens. Well, does the same thing apply to folks in Mexico? In Central America? In Asia? Should perhaps they stay home and work to improve their own countries? Or is this just the Africans? The Africans should stay home. Don't migrate. Don't go to Europe. Don't go to America. Stay home. Work out your problems in your country here. Stay home. I agree with the Pope on this, by the way. We should be encouraging everyone to fix their countries. James Golden, Snerdley, Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour continues.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush. Now here's James Golden.
Get to today. You people in New York, your school starts after in September next year. Well, the next school year, September 10th. Keep that in your vacation planning. You got some time after August. My friend, sad day in the history of music. In 2016, on this day, Prince was found dead at his home in Minnesota. He's 57 years old, one of the most influential musicians of his time, of all time. Body found in an elevator, a lift. Superstar. Purple Rain, Sign of the Times, over 30 albums. A lot of music from Prince still hasn't been heard. He just was a music machine. Remembering Prince as we leave today. May God bless and protect each and every single one of you. Your families and your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we will be back for the Wednesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Until then, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?